The University of Iowa had a reputation. Everyone knew it. Parents pretended not to, brochures never mentioned it, but students whispered it to each other with pride and a grin. This is a party school. By the end of the first week, the campus pulsed like a living thing. Music vibrating through dorm walls, strangers laughing in stairwells, the smell of cheap beer clinging to sidewalks. My roommate, Matt, had already decided his destiny. He was going to join a fraternity. He spent hours scrolling through forums, talking about bids and brotherhoods like they were golden tickets. I didn't care about any of that, but I liked parties, and Matt didn't want to go alone. So when Thursday night rolled around, I found myself walking beside him across campus, into the darker side streets where the dorm lights didn't reach. He said we were headed to one of the backup frats, some underground chapter no one really respected, but he thought it would be smart to have a safety net in case the bigger names rejected him. His logic didn't convince me, but I tagged along. The house looked like it was waiting to collapse. Peeling paint, a porch that sagged in the middle, and windows covered with old sheets instead of curtains. If it weren't for the wall of cars parked on the street and the bass shaking the walls, I would have assumed it was abandoned. We knocked. The door flew open, and a short, sweaty guy with damp stains spreading under his arms grinned at us through crooked teeth. A red cup dangled from his hand, sloshing onto the porch. "Come on in," he said, his words slurred, his eyes too bright. Inside, the air was thick, hot, the kind of heat that clung to your skin and made you feel like you were breathing through fabric. The living room was jammed with at least 50 guys, shoulder to shoulder, yelling over music, every surface sticky with spilled beer. A couple of girls stood near the kitchen, expressionless, cornered by two overeager frat boys. I tried to give the place a chance. I nursed a cup of watered-down beer, squeezed between a couch and the wall, talking to a foreign exchange student who barely looked at me. Matt had vanished into the crowd, already networking. Minutes dragged like hours. The music was just noise, the heat unbearable. I waved to Matt when I spotted him and mouthed, "Let's go." He glanced at the front door, but a pack of guys were standing in a solid circle there, blocking it. The unspoken rule at these places: if you leave too soon, you're marked as disrespectful. So we stayed. I downed one beer, then another. 5 in total, just to feel something other than frustration. That's when he approached me. He was bigger than most, thick neck, wide shoulders, a stomach pressing against his shirt. He smiled, though it never touched his eyes, and held out a tiny bottle. "This'll get you really wasted," he said, voice low, almost conspiratorial. I laughed politely, ready to brush him off, but he didn't leave. He just stood there, holding the bottle, waiting. His eyes didn't blink. The silence stretched too long. My skin prickled. I felt everyone around me moving, talking, yelling, but in that pocket of space there was only me, him, and the bottle. So I took it. I unscrewed the cap, tipped it back, swallowed the sharp burn of something far stronger than beer. 2 shots, maybe 3. "Good man," he said, still watching. He didn't move. Instead, he started asking me questions: where I was from, what dorm I lived in, what I planned to study. On the surface, normal questions. but his body blocked the space, his presence heavy and insistent. Each time I tried to pull away, his hand caught my shoulder, steering me back into the conversation. His smile never shifted. That's when things began to blur. At first, I thought it was the alcohol finally kicking in. My vision softened, the edges of people smeared into colors. But it was too sudden. My head grew heavy, my body sluggish, like my limbs had turned to sandbags. The music seemed distant, muffled, as though I had been dropped underwater. I remember gripping the edge of the couch for balance. My heart was pounding too fast. The room darkened at the edges, a tunnel closing in. The last clear thing I saw was his grin. When I opened my eyes, silence pressed around me. No, not silence. Music still thumped, but muffled, smothered by walls. I was no longer in the living room. I was lying on a bed in a pitch-dark room, my head pounding, throat dry. The air smelled of mildew and sweat. My clothes were still on, shoes and all. My hands twitched against the blanket, trying to test if I was fully awake. Shapes began to emerge from the dark. A dresser against the wall, a chair, a small closet door cracked open just an inch. From inside the closet came the sound. Crunch. Plastic shifting, as though someone had stepped on a bag. Every hair on my body lifted. My stomach turned cold. I sat up fast, the world tilting, dizziness threatening to knock me back down. I stared at that closet door, wide-eyed, waiting for it to move. Another crinkle. I didn't wait. I bolted. Out the door, down a narrow hallway, the sound of laughter and voices swelling as I hit the stairs. My legs were unsteady, my vision swimming, but adrenaline pushed me through the crowd. "Matt!" I yelled, shoving past the circle of guys guarding the front door. My roommate's head whipped around, confused, then alarmed. I grabbed his arm and dragged him out onto the porch, ignoring the voices calling after us. We ran to his car. I slammed the passenger door shut as he peeled out of the neighborhood, tires shrieking against the pavement. "What the hell happened?" he demanded. I tried to explain, words tumbling over each other. "They drugged me. Some guy. He gave me this bottle. I blacked out. Woke up upstairs. Someone was in the closet." Matt's face twisted with rage and fear. "We should call the cops," he said, fumbling for his phone. "No," I snapped. My hands were shaking, my head still spun. "We can't prove anything. They'll just deny it." "Did they—" he hesitated. "Did they do anything to you?" The question dropped like a stone in the silence. I looked down at myself. Clothes intact, no pain, no marks. I shook my head. "No, I don't think so."
Matt gripped the wheel tighter. Neither of us spoke the rest of the drive. Back in the dorm, I collapsed on my bed and stared at the ceiling until morning. The images replayed, the grin, the dark room, the plastic crunch from the closet. I never went to another frat party again, and I never forgot how close I came to disappearing in that house, swallowed by music, sweat, and a group of strangers who had no reason to ever let me come back out.